Hey guys, it's Deanna here, and today we're doing the sunny day, and I'm going to do the top version, which is basically the same thing as the dress version except for shorter. So I'm doing the tunic, and I'm really excited because this is a really cute pattern, and I hope this can be really quick and easy. So, all right, so I've got all my pieces already cut out. I've got my my outer layer, front and back, liner front and back, and my skirt piece and my clear elastic, and that's all we need. Easy peasy, simple. All right, so I'm grabbing one of my sides, and I'm putting it right side up, and then I'm gonna put the other one on top, right sides down on top of each other, and I'm gonna meet them at the shoulders and pin at the shoulders, and then I'm gonna sew the shoulders together. And I'm doing this to the outer, but I'm going to do the same thing to the liner. And actually I already did that to the liner. It's right here. I already sewed the shoulders together. And after we sew the shoulders together, we're gonna go ahead and put our liner and our outer together. So I'm sewing this up. And now I'm going to open them up. Here is my liner, my outer. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to place my liner right sides down on top of it. And I'm going to meet it right here at the shoulder seams where the neck opening is, because I'm going to go ahead and sew that neck opening together. So I'm going to meet it at the shoulders first to make sure those seams are matching. And I am using double brush poly for both my outer and my inner layer. So I'm pinning it around the neck. And then after I pin it around the neck, I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way around the neck area, the neck hole. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew around that neck area. Making sure that I'm catching both the liner and the outer as I'm going around. All the way around. I like to use my serger. You can use your sewing machine serger. Really, it's up to you. Both will work. If you're using your sewing machine and you're just sewing around, a zigzag stitch will do. Because it has to have stretch for it to go over your head. If you don't have stretch, you won't be able to put it over your head. So I went all the way around. Now I'm going to flip it open and tuck. So when you open it up like this, see, liner and outer, I'm going to tuck that liner in there. And I'm going to steam my neck hole. Let me move all these pins out of the way. I like to just shove them in there. I'm getting used to doing that. Sometimes I just toss them on the floor. And that's not good because then I end up stepping on them. So I'm kind of trying to get used to putting them somewhere. Okay, so now I'm going to steam the neck so it'll be nice and flat. And we're going to move on to sewing our sides together. Actually, our shoulder seams, armsicle area together. Because this is a sleeveless top, we're going to use the burrito method. Even though you could use the burrito method for sleeves as well, but we don't have to do sleeves. This is sleeveless, so it's really easy. This would be a great present because it's something that turns out super cute but it's super quick and easy. Okay, so now that this is steamed, we're gonna move on to do the burrito method where we do the seams on the sides. So this is how we do it. I know burrito sounds kind of scary, but it's not. So now that it's laid up, have it laid up face up. I'm gonna grab this one side, I'm gonna start rolling towards the other side. Okay, when I get to the edge, I grab my shoulder piece, my outer shoulder piece, and I fold it on top, basically. Separate the outer and the inner layer, and then I'm gonna put it right on top of each other. Okay, so you see in here inside, I will pack up the other side of the shirt, but the outer and the inner will be will poke out. Does that make sense? So I roll the other side up and I opened up that seam, that shoulder seam right here, and I'm covering it together. So I'm gathering it together right here at the shoulder seam, putting those together and pin, and then I'm gonna go all the way down the arm area. Okay. If this didn't make sense, don't worry, because I'll do it again on the other side and show you again one more time. So I go all the way down and I'm gonna pin. So I'm gonna go ahead and serge those two seams together. Those two raw edges together right here. All the way around that area. Okay, let me go ahead and sew that up. And then we'll turn it and you'll see the magic of the burrito roll. It is very neat. Now when you do the burrito, you have to make sure that the other side is nice and rolled out of the way. If you don't roll it out of the way, then you'll get caught when you're sewing. So you have to be careful. Yeah, my elastic's getting caught. Okay. So now that I did that, I'm gonna open my bottom and I'm gonna pull that side out. The side that got rolled in is coming out. Okay? Okay, and as you can see, this one side is all together. It's finished. Okay? Now I'm gonna do the same to the other side. So this is the side that's not done. I'm gonna show you. This is my outer and my inner, and they're right on top of each other, right? Okay, so then the other side that I decide to roll, I'm gonna roll it real tight towards the armsicle on the other side. I'm rolling it real tight. Now I'm gonna open the armsicle and the liner. I'm gonna open it up. You see, I just opened it up. And now I'm gonna face right side. This is gonna come right over on top of the part that you rolled in. It sounds so confusing, but it really is not that confusing. I hope it's making sense what I'm doing. Now I am going to do the same thing. Pin and sew the outers and the inner. Outer and inner. The two together. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I always like to make sure that that little tail at the shoulders goes in. That way it gets serged in there and serged shut. And do make sure that you're catching both fabrics. Before turning it, I'll look and see, make sure that I cut them both. And I did. So now you pull it out. And now when you pull it out, it's finished. Both sides are finished. Okay? See that? My top is pretty much done. Okay, now I'm going to open it up again and unfold it. I'm going to open my liner and my outer piece. Okay, so here's my one side. Let's say that's the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open up the back and the liner and the front of the other side as well. So now they're both opened. Sorry, my ironing board keeps sliding away. Now they're all both open. So now I'm gonna put the liner on top of the front liner on top of the back liner, and the front on top of the back of the outer piece, because I'm going to sew the side seams. Okay, and here it is, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. You can see it's on top of each other, raw edges. Here's the side seam, and all the way down one side, the back, the liner side, and then all the way down the other side. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and serge this, and that will be your top, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and serge these two sides and move on to the next step. As you're sewing, make sure that both sides are in, because you don't want to do, when you open it up, you don't want it to be a gap between the two sides. So always when you're sewing, make sure, I say that every time, and I check every time, because sometimes, so I always check and see I came a little closer to the edge. So I'm going to go over that one more time so that it's caught together. I'm going to go ahead and go over that and go over on the other side, and we'll move on to the skirt. Alright, so I finished the two sides. Now I'm going to turn it right side out. And here it is. All finished up. It's like a little crop top. So here it is. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our skirt part, and then we'll attach them together. So I have my skirt, my two sides of my skirt, my back and my front. And we're going to go ahead and place them right sides together on top of each other. So here's my back and here's my front. Just going to place it right on top of each other. And we're going to go ahead and sew them together. So on that raw edge, you can, again, you can serge or you can zigzag stitch. Either one will work. Either one is fine. I like to serge because I just have my serger, and I like the finished edge that the serger gives it. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I've got going on. After we serge it, we're going to go ahead and hem it. So that way when we attach it, it is we don't have to do the hemming afterwards. So okay, so it's done, it's together. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab the bottom and fold up half an inch and steam. Now I cheated and I did the other side already, and I already hemmed part of my skirt, so I don't have to hem the whole thing. I just have a little bit to hem right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while you guys are watching. I didn't want you to have to be stuck watching me hem the whole thing. So I went ahead and already did part of it. Now I am hemming it with a long stitch. And you say, why are you doing that? Well, it is already, yes, it is knit. So it can pop if I pull it on it really hard. But the reason why I'm doing it with this is because I didn't have the right color thread for my my cover stitch. And I did it a long stitch, and because it is, it's going to be gathered, and I'm not really planning on pulling on it. So I figured I'd rather have it the same color thread, the color thread that I want, than to have it top stitch, whatever. If down the road I get that color thread, then I'll fix it. Okay, so here's my skirt, and it's ready to be gathered. So I'll do that in a minute. You can go ahead and gather that first, but I'm just going to go ahead and do my elastic first, my clear elastic. And I know a lot of people ask why the clear elastic. The clear elastic helps the top kind of stay in, you know, even though the skirt is a little heavy, it helps it stay in. It's a little bit not as stretchy as regular elastic. So I'm going to fold it I'm gonna overlap them 1/4 of an inch, and I'm gonna do a zigzag stitch, and I'm gonna stitch it together on top of each other. And I just go back and forth a couple times. Okay, and now I'm going to pin it to my bodice. I'm going to pin it to the inside of my bodice. And you can actually mark it where your quarter points are and all that stuff if you want to go ahead and do that. And then just pin it on there, on the edges. And all the way around. And after I pin it all the way around at the edge of my shirt, I'm going to go ahead and zigzag stitch it on. And I'm using the same color thread as that matches my bodice, because once I serge my skirt on, a lot of this elastic will be hidden. But sometimes I can't hide all of it if I'm not very careful. So if I'm not very careful, I rather have the thread, if anything's gonna show, to be the same color as the shirt. But you can avoid that by being very careful when you're sewing it on. Sometimes I'm not the most careful. But anyway, so that's how it is. I'm gonna pin it all the way around on the inside of my bodice, and both of those, the liner and the outer, are together, and the elastic's going all the way around. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna zigzag stitch it on. So I'm gonna do a zigzag over it all the way around, and then we'll move on to gathering the skirt and attaching the skirt. All right, so as you can see, I put the elastic on, and look, this is the inside. You can see the zigzag. So it's on at the bottom, and then I went ahead with my skirt. I did a long stitch, and that's how I gather my skirts. I do a long stitch on my sewing machine all the way around, leaving a tail at the end, and that tail is what I pull to gather my skirt. Okay, so we gotta gather it the same width as the bodice, and I like to sorry, I choked. I just had some water, but I feel like my throat is dry. So yeah, so we're gathering it the same width as the bodice. I want to make sure that it's all even. Now, this skirt doesn't have like it's not like 2 or 3 times the size of the bodice. So it's not like you're gathering a whole lot. So it's not horrible gathering. I know sometimes when certain dresses or certain tops, we've got a lot of gathering to do, and that gets a little bit painful, but this one's not bad. Okay, so now it's gathered. Now I like to go ahead and quarter my pieces. I just feel like it gives it a better finish when I quarter it, and so that way they're evenly distributed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And how I quarter it is, I've got my side seams. So I'm going to meet the side seams, and I go to the front, and here's my front piece, my front quarter. And then I do the same thing, my side seams, and I go to the front, and here's my front piece. Now, sometimes I do this before gathering. If you want, if you're kind of scared of it not being aligned, not being even, I would recommend to quarter before you gather. If you quarter before you gather, then you know exactly how much goes into each spot, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to quarter my bodice as well. If you already have a quarter from when we did the elastic, then you just go by those points. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my bodice, and I'm going to flip my skirt inside out and fit my bodice inside of my skirt, basically. And so that the right sides of my bodice and skirt are touching, and I'm going to align those points that I made. So here with my side seam and my middle, where is it? Oh, right here. And then my other side seam right here. Is that my side seam? Yeah. And then my front. That's my front, and now my back. And as you can tell, I need to gather a little bit more. So now that I quartered it and I found my pieces, I can tell how much I need to gather. I need to gather a little bit more. So then I'll just pull a little bit more of my string and bring it in a little bit. Right here. And I'll bring it in a little bit and then gather it. And make sure that it's even. And do the same for the other side. And now I'm going to pin it. Ow. Poked myself. Now I'm going to go ahead and pin it at the edge, making sure my gathers are straight up. And remember, when you go to sew, you have to make sure that not only your gathers are together, but you have to make sure that you're catching both the top and the liner and the top when you're sewing. The liner, the top, and the skirt, because sometimes it gets caught underneath it, and then if that happens, you will lose both of them and you will have a gap. So you need to make sure you're slowly looking. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to pin and pin all the way around. I'm going to do a lot of pins because I want to make sure my gathers are even and good. And then we're going to go ahead and move on and serge. And then we'll be done. How cool is that? Okay, as you can tell, I've pinned my whole skirt around. So now we're going to go slowly. Oh, it got caught underneath my desk, so it was doing it on its own. So we're gonna go slowly and we're gonna serge this on. You can either serge, you can zigzag stitch, it's up to you. Now some people, I have done this before, especially when there's a lot of gathers. Now this one doesn't have as much gathering, so I didn't do it on this one. But sometimes if you want to, you can go ahead and baste the skirt on. Just baste it on your shirt and figure out if you want to go ahead and, you know, if your gathers look exactly like you want them to, if you want to give them more gather, it's up to you. So you baste it on, you turn it right side out, you look at it, you decide, oh, that looks hideous. Oh, I did a really good job with my gathers. I'm going to go ahead and sew it on for reals. It's up to you if you like to take that extra step. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes if it's a lot of gathering, I will take that extra step to make sure it all lines up evenly. But since this one doesn't have a whole lot of gathering, I'm just going for it. And I'm going slowly, catching all these and making sure I don't run over my pins. Because when you do run over your pins, they tend to come at you with a vengeance. They tend to try to take your eyes out. Alright, and I want to make sure, looking around, making sure that all my edges are cut. And we've got my top. It's finished. So cute. Very, very cute. I hope you guys have a fun time making yours. Let me know if you have any questions. I will go ahead and pull, you can see my gathering stitch right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. And please let me know, comment below on the comment section if you have any questions about anything I did today. If you want to give me any tips for any of your gathering information or anything like that. When you make yours, please, we'd love to see it on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. Please, please, please. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and see you next time. Bye.